Well, we are just 2 days away from the first Republican presidential debate. A host of issues are at stake, including inflation, the economy, gun laws, and so much more.
There's also the issue of former President Donald Trump being under indictment in 4 cases, including his alleged connection to efforts to influence and undermine the 2020 presidential election results. Despite the indictments, a new NBC News poll is out today, and it shows the former president has a commanding lead among likely Republican caucus goers in Iowa. Trump holds a more than 20-point lead over his closest rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
However, candidates are gearing up for what could be their make or break moment in front of a national audience.
Ben Jordan goes in depth on debate strategy with a pair of political strategists.
The stakes will be incredibly high here Wednesday night, as each candidate will only get about a minute to respond to each question. A political strategist says they're best off avoiding attacks on former President Donald Trump and focusing on themselves. A huge banner hangs outside Fiserv Forum.
There's no do-overs, there are no second chances.
Steven Olikara knows the stage inside will be crucial.
Every word needs to count.
For Republican presidential candidates hoping to gain momentum.
You got to hit it out of the park in that one moment.
Steven has felt the pressure of seeking a breakout moment in a political debate as he took part in TMJ4's U.S. Senate primary debate last year.
It is important for candidates to draw a contrast, and that's not going to happen by just playing things safe. You got to take some risks, and you got to draw a contrast, ideally on the policy with other candidates.
Steven says candidates have to strike a delicate balance of coming prepared, but not sounding overly scripted.
I think the key to preparing for a debate is getting to the root of what you're trying to convey.
Evan Zappos is a political strategist who has helped several candidates prepare for debates in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. since the 1970s.
My advice to a candidate, particularly those who are sort of stuck in the middle or stuck at the lower ends, I'd avoid talking about Trump. I think you're better off to attack Biden, to talk about yourself, to try to find that distinguishing remark that lets you get away from that traffic jam in there. If you get into this Trump mess, the big winner is going to be Donald Trump, no matter what you say about him.
Former President Donald Trump has met the donor and polling requirements, but he's vowed to skip the debate. That leaves at least 8 others who will be on the stage. Who do you think has the most to gain and who has the most to lose Wednesday night?
I think the most to gain are those who are at the bottom of the tier, because no one knows who they are. No one knows really who Asia Hutchinson is. Nikki Haley is hardly breaking through. Tim Scott is hardly breaking through. Doug Burgum of North Dakota, the governor. People say, who's he? I think they have the most to gain. The most to lose, I think, are Mike Pence. I think also Ron DeSantis. And I think those two really have significant challenges out there.
Steven says if you break it down, each candidate will only get about 5 minutes to make their case.
You got to think economy and efficiency here. You got to find your moments and find those key issues that are core to what you're running on.
Candidates who meet the polling and fundraising requirements have until tonight to sign the party's loyalty pledge. That means we should know by tomorrow the exact number of candidates who will be on the stage. Reporting outside Fiserv Forum, Ben Jordan, TMJ4 News.